Have you ever experienced the weight of emotional attachment feeling overwhelming you? You're not alone. Many folks are caught in a loop that appears unbreakable. Encounter the difficulty of letting go, feeling helpless and trapped in their feelings. But the bright side is that change is not only feasible, but also inspired by the timeless wisdom of ancient Stoicism. Within your reach, this film will expose 10 philosophers, including Marcus Aurelius and Seneca. Strong Stoic guidelines to assist you in emotionally separating from someone. Why is, as Seneca sagely stated, "He who is brave is free." Detachment is so revolutionary that it doesn't imply growing chilly or uncaring. Rather, it means discovering your inner strength and clarity. In this video, we'll examine important Stoic ideas that lead you to emotional. By incorporating these routines into your everyday life, you will find freedom. Healthy and useful methods for releasing emotional attachment, enabling you to recover your mental calm and concentrate on what really most imagine, letting go of the mental chains that hold you back and welcoming a fresh sense of focus and clarity. Stoic principles will enable you to manage your emotions like Marcus Aurelius did, with fortitude and insight. Stated that you are in control of your thoughts and that external circumstances do not acknowledge this, and you will gain strength by putting these lessons into practice, and you'll discover how to put your inner serenity ahead of your outside peace. Situations. Are you prepared to release the bonds of emotional connection and welcome the strength of? If you are interested in personal development, this video is for you. We will walk you through 10 Stoic behaviors that will change the way you approach emotional detachment. Let's start with asking ourselves, what is really important in life, if not the tranquility of our? Join us as we examine these guidelines, which open the door to a free Stoic attitude. If this video was enjoyable and useful to you, please click the "For more thought-provoking articles." Please click the subscribe button and join our community. If you're unsure about what to say, please leave a comment below so we can hear your opinions. Let's dive in and start this path of emotional freedom by just typing "joint emotional liberation music." The first rule of music is the strength of detachment. Have you ever questioned how someone else controls your emotions, making you feel as though they are a puppet? Because of your attachments, you've given up a lot of control, and this is where the power of when you become detached, it doesn't imply you cease caring. Rather, it means, why is detachment so important when you begin living a life in which your happiness and tranquility aren't determined by external factors? Transformative. Take Epictetus's wisdom into consideration, which states that we suffer not from the circumstances in our lives, but based on our assessment of them. Detachment is about regaining control, despite realizing that you have no control over other circumstances. You have power over how you react to them. Consider it when we hold on too tightly to circumstances or individuals, they start to exert power over us. It's like giving someone else the remote control to your emotions. Enabling them to change the channels whenever they impact can determine how happy or unhappy you are, and in severe situations can motivate you to make choices that cannot be undone. Detachment is about taking back that remote control and choosing the channels you want to view. Picture your emotions are like a kite, with each string connected to a person or object. Symbolizes a possible path your feelings could take if you cling to. You're at the mercy of the wind's Stoicism if you have too many strings or one that is too tight. Teaches us to relax and realize that although we have no control over the wind, we do have some control over which strings to hold. This method grounds you and doesn't make you aloof or uncaring. Adaptable. Let's begin with a practical exercise by determining what or who you are excessively attached to. Then consider why you're terrified of asking approval. Knowing the cause of your attachment is the first step in overcoming loneliness or anything else. Releasing its hold, today partake in activities that give you a feeling of, by concentrating on what you can control and letting go of what you cannot, you can find fulfillment and purpose. As you embrace your own strengths and ideals, you start to anchor yourself in them. Detachment causes you to perceive the world differently and realize that your value is independent of other factors, situations, but is innate and unchanging, and this insight gives you to proceed with confidence and clarity, free from the mental constraints of attachment. Keep in mind that, as Seneca once stated, the brave one is free by practice. Detachment means living life more fully rather than retreating from it. With a calm heart and a clear head, comprehending rule number 2. Have you ever pondered why we are so attached to specific people or circumstances? What makes us want to hold on, even when it hurts us? And how can we overcome it by realizing that a crucial first step on the path to emotional detachment? And let's examine personal freedom in more detail, taking inspiration from the Stoic thinkers to help us understand that attachment is really based on according to Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, riches is not found in having a lot of belongings, but by having limited desires. This insight emphasizes the core of connection, our apparent demands and desires. When we're connected to anything or someone, we frequently act on out of ego in search of approval, safety, or a sense of identity from outside sources. Think of a happy newborn. And unaffected by the intricacies of ego, as we mature, ego starts to take the driving force behind the attachments that clog our life, whether they are people's, things, or beliefs, impair our judgment and divert us from our. Have you ever had the feeling that love and self-satisfaction are the ultimate essence? Your contentment depends on the presence or approval of another individual, which is an unmistakable indication of ego-driven attachment. To start separating from them attachments, we must first acknowledge that they are ego-generated. In search of validation and stability, consider why I am so attached to this person or result, and what want or fear is causing this. The first step to releasing your attachment is to recognize its source. Now, picture yourself living a life with love instead of ego. What if you could have faith in the abundance of the cosmos, trusting that good things will come to you? This significant adjustment in perspective is about realizing your intrinsic value and capacities that are not influenced by outside variables. As you start to see you're using this lens to view connections and wants, you'll begin to recognize the unnecessary. Accepting the idea of abundance, despite the weight they give to your life, is essential, because the environment frequently rewards you when you let go of your fear of losing. Having more than what you let go of doesn't imply that you don't care about it. Indicates that you have a better understanding. It signifies remaining loyal to who you are and allowing. Instead of fear, let love lead you on the path to detachment. Transformative. It involves removing ego layers to reveal the underlying underneath it all. A love-filled soul is about going on with ease, free from the weight of attachment, and prepared to embrace fresh benefits with a resolute heart and open arms. By putting your inner peace ahead of approval from others, you open the door to a life of genuine emotional freedom. And Rule 3 of fulfillment, the illusion of control. Have you ever had the impression that do you ever feel that your happiness depends on the approval or behavior of others? Feel that you can influence the results of your relationships if you only put in enough effort and emotions, which is a prevalent misunderstanding that many of us encounter. Control, comprehension, and deconstruction of this illusion are essential for emotional personal liberty and detachment. Our ego frequently deceives us into believing that we may influence outside circumstances and other people's responses. This delusion causes us to give too much weight to how other people see us, which can lead to, according to the Stoic philosopher Epictetus, emotional clinginess and reliance. This proverb emphasizes a key Stoic idea. It's not what occurs to you, but how you respond to it that counts. Although we have no influence over outside events, we do have control over how we react to them. We risk idolizing people and putting them on pedestals when we cling to the appearance of control. Pedestals, thinking that our value is dependent on their acceptance. This way of thinking leads to a skewed view of reality in which we believe that other people own something impossible. But when we dispel these misconceptions, we see that everyone is just as vulnerable as everyone else, and nobody has a special ticket that makes them intrinsically superior or more deserving to get through this delusion. Begin by recognizing that a large portion of what we think we can manage is actually beyond our impact. This insight may be both freeing and enlightening. The fact that we have no control over the behavior or emotions of others enables us to concentrate on what we may regulate our own ideas, feelings and personal development. By concentrating on ourselves, we can develop resilience and self-assurance, for example, rather than looking for practice self-affirmation, and remind yourself that you are validated by others. Recognize your value by consistently recognizing your special strengths and attributes. Does not rely on the opinion of others. This conduct is consistent with another Stoic lesson from Marcus Aurelius is that you have mental control. Recognize this, and you will find strength in accepting the fact that having an abundant attitude is another useful tactic to acknowledge that the universe is vast, and when you pause, there is an abundance of love, success, and pleasure to be had. When you dread losing a certain person or result, you expose yourself to a globe of fresh prospects and chances in partnerships. This understanding helps you to love without a need for a frantic attachment. You to value relationships while preserving your sense of value, and recall that imposing emotional detachment is not about becoming apathetic. Rather, it's about realizing that you are whole without the presence of others. By internalizing these Stoic ideas, you develop a strong emotional foundation that equips you to confront the uncertainties of life with grace. Let go of the delusion of control and accept the freeing reality that real power is rule number 4. Detachment in your own thoughts practice. Have you ever been unable to let go of former relationships or experiences, and it's common to ponder what may happen if you did? Holding on to something so firmly that it aches, but you're too scared to let go. Let's examine how to practice drawing detachment and see if letting go could result in something much greater. Following the Stoic philosophy's wisdom, as Epictetus sagely stated, riches is not. This idea is applicable when one has many possessions but few desires. Are you prepared to let go of the past and create space for the future? You seem to be emotionally attached. Consider yourself gripping a rope so firmly that your hands begin to hurt. You're afraid of what will happen if you let go, but the truth is that letting go doesn't mean. Sometimes falling allows you to finally reach out and spread your hands. I had to learn this the hard way when I clung to a much better thing. Cozy relationship, because I didn't realize I was closing doors, so it felt safe. How many times have you done the same out of fear of letting go of the possibility of happiness that was rapping on my door? Of your knowledge out of fear of the unknown? Here's another bomb of truth. FOMO, or the fear of missing out, is a trap that is similar to observing other people showcase your true self on social media when you feel like you're losing out on life. But keep in mind that social media is a well-edited, filtered photo intended to highlight moments of perfection. After I stopped reading through other people's stories and began living my own FOMO, and it no longer held me. Do you find yourself in this situation all the time? It's time to stop the loop of comparing your life to others. Being aware of every aspect of another person's life does not imply that you are losing out on anything. It indicates that you are living your life to the fullest and creating memories that are unique to you. By itself, devotion to a fictitious notion of happiness can make letting go seem. It's tough to feel like you're falling behind when you watch people living their best lives, but keep in mind that appearances are all that matter. From a distance it appears greener, but up close you can tell that it has some brown spots. Additionally, giving someone else the appearance of perfection in their life robs them of joy. No matter how quickly you run, it's like trying to catch up to a hologram on a treadmill. It's not real, so you'll never get there. Detachment isn't about giving up. Happiness is something you define for yourself, therefore emotionally distance yourself from it. The Stoic idea of concentrating on your thoughts and what you can manage your behavior, your development, and it's liberating to know that no one's view or history connection, not even a glamorous sanitized life on social media, may define your satisfaction or value. This insight is your shield, enabling you to proceed without being constrained by needless ties, free to discover life in all its erratic splendor, and remain receptive to the truly rewarding relationships that are waiting for you. Keep in mind that letting go isn't an ultimately, it's a brave step towards the life you deserve, as outlined in rule number 5, the path. Have you ever pondered why genuine enjoyment frequently appears to be out of reach? Reach dependent on other people's whims or outside events. What if the secret to lasting you are the source of your own happiness, regardless of the opinions of others in this section? We'll look at how emotional detachment can result in a more resilient and profound joy, as well as the Stoic route to happiness. The answer to the question of where true value originates can change our course, away from pointless bonds and in the direction of emotional independence. As Epictetus sagely stated, prosperity is not found in owning large goods, but rather in having minimal desires. This profound realization leads us to focus on ourselves instead of the external factors for our satisfaction and sense of value. Comprehending this idea is especially important when the difficulty is separating from someone. It's not about cutting connections out of malice or apathy, but seeing that the most meaningful kind of friendship. It turns out that your true value is the only one you will ever have, originates from your inner understanding and character, how you treat people, and how frequently you. We erroneously think that being with someone else is the only way to be happy. That our value increases when they approve of us, or decreases when they. If we ignore this mentality, we limit our enormous potential to the whims of. Additionally, if a bird thinks it requires permission to fly, we restrict our. Instead of acknowledging that the sky has always been there, emotional skies imagine being accessible and waiting for you to take advantage of this opportunity on your own terms. Being independent is freeing because it teaches us that our worth is constant. Therefore, detachment isn't an act of pressing for other people's views or presence. Getting ourselves nearer to our essence by concentrating on personal development and achieving our finest selves by releasing ourselves from the burden of neediness. It's like caring for a garden that you wouldn't beg for. You must care for the soil, water the plants, and have faith in order for even one flower to grow. The organic method of concentrating on personal development is to grow a garden. It blossoms regardless of who decides to gaze upon its beauty or walk through it. This nurture turns into a durable, self-sufficient source of happiness, and incredibly fulfilling. How can we navigate this emotional detachment begins with realizing that you are whole, whether or not someone confirms it. Exploring the vastness of your own sky and learning to appreciate the freedom that comes with flying are the goals of the adventure. Solitary when required, adopt the wisdom of Stoicism and concentrate on your innermost thoughts. Control your thoughts, your behavior, and your development. This does not imply that you must heart or ignoring affection and connection. It entails protecting your keep in mind that your self-worth isn't an emotional anchor in the stable ground of who you are. A puzzle that is incomplete but complete is a work of art in progress, as is still amenable to incorporating further beauty from its surroundings. Rule number 6. Accept the present moment. Are you frequently engrossed in recollections of the past or anxieties over the future? Living in the present this exercise is a wonderful approach to develop inner peace and emotionally distance yourself. Encourages us to live completely in the present and has its roots in Stoic philosophy, being mindful of the present rather than dwelling on the past, or perhaps famous Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once stated, "Contain in the present." This remark emphasizes the core of Stoic knowledge, the value of living in the present, because if you focus too much on the past, you may end up living it again. Unpleasant situations or holding on to things that are no longer there in a similar way. When you worry about the future, you frequently cause needless stress about things that have not yet occurred and might never happen. Both of these behaviors can help. Being mindful prevents you from appreciating the richness of the present. Paying attentive attention is an excellent method of embracing present moment mindfulness. To truly engage, you must pay attention to your current experience without passing judgment. While engaging in any activity, such as eating, walking, or having a talk about the specifics, the food's flavor, and the texture of the immerse yourself in the other person's voice to feel the tone beneath your feet. You anchor yourself in the present by immersing yourself in these experiences, which can reduce connection to the past or the future by practicing mindfulness. Activities can greatly improve your capacity for present moment meditation. Educates your attention to concentrate on the present moment, even simple breathing, for instance. Exercises can help you focus on the here and now. Try setting aside spending a few minutes a day on these exercises will eventually make you less living in the present while preoccupied with regrets from the past or worries about the future. Implies cultivating thankfulness for the little things and valuing what you currently have. Moments and small joys in your life. This change in perspective from what is. Comparing what is abundant to what is missing might change your viewpoint and make it simpler to let go of attachments that burden you. But by living in the now, you create a foundation of clarity and emotional stability. This technique enables you to face life's obstacles with composure and concentration. Rule number 7 enables you to live life more fully and joyously. Reframe your ideas. Reframing your ideas is an effective technique for emotional detachment. Entails altering your perspective and interpretation of events. As the Stoic philosopher, assisting you in escaping unhealthy thought patterns and emotional dependencies. According to a quote from Marcus Aurelius, the soul is colored by its altering. Your thinking might alter your emotional state and general viewpoint on life. Begin by recognizing the pessimistic ideas that keep you at. These could include sentiments such as, "I can't live without this person," "My happiness depends on them, and I'll never find someone else." Make people feel dependent and powerless by identifying these trends is the first step in altering them. The next step is to confront these ideas by doubting their veracity. Consider whether this idea is truly true. What proof do I have for this belief? Frequently, you'll discover that realizing that their ideas are inflated or baseless can make them less powerful. About your feelings after recognizing and disputing your pessimistic thoughts, swap out "I can't live without" for ones that are neutral or positive. "This person tries to convince me that I can find contentment and happiness on my own. There are plenty of chances for me to find someone else to replace. In my future, these fresh ideas should represent love and connection, a more impartial and empowering viewpoint to support these new ways of thinking on a daily basis. Write down positive statements about yourself and your capacity to succeed as affirmations. These affirmations can be read aloud every day and individually over time. Also, assist in rewiring your brain to have a more optimistic perspective. When you're trying to reframe your thinking, mindfulness practices like meditation can help. You are able to observe and modify your thought patterns more when you become conscious of them without passing judgment. Reframing your ideas properly requires constant work rather than a one-time endeavor. By continuously questioning and altering your pessimistic ideas, you develop emotional fortitude and acquire more mastery over your responses to this change. Attitude empowers you by cultivating a sense of inner strength and detachment. The eighth healthy rule should be followed in order to proceed with assurance and clarity. Do you find it difficult to set healthy limits or say no to people? Setting and maintaining boundaries is essential for emotional detachment, since it safeguards your well-being and gives you authority over. Determine what behaviors are appropriate and inappropriate in your emotional space, and effectively convey these to others while honoring your personal boundaries. Affirm your value and lessen your need on other people to validate you. Or when you establish limits, you draw a line between where you end and where you start. And someone else starts doing this, which helps avoid emotional entanglement and encourages a feeling of independence. For example, if someone's actions are quietly but firmly communicate your desire for change or space, if it's making you stressed. In conversation, this is about defending your interests rather than shoving others away. Mental and emotional well-being. While you set these boundaries, keep in mind that over time, limits show others that you value yourself and your needs, which is a sign of self-respect. Establishing boundaries on a regular basis fosters healthier relationships based on regard for one another, and realizing that it's a proactive measure against emotional independence. Guarantees that your tranquility is not dependent on the deeds or approval of others. By establishing and upholding sound boundaries, you establish a secure emotional space where you can thrive, which enables you to concentrate on your personal development and welfare, strengthening your sense of self and improving your general quality of life. Follow rule number 9. When was the last time you took some time to take care of yourself? Self-care is crucial for developing resilience and emotional detachment. Independent life. Seneca valued individual health and well-being, emphasizing that a sound body and sound mind are brief but complete. The definition of a happy state in this world is making self-care a priority. Physical activity that supports your body, mind, and spirit. Meditation and mindfulness, for example, not only enhances your health, but also generates endorphins that improve your mood. Techniques that promote mental clarity by calming your mind and lowering stress. And emotional stability, interests and passions are important components of painting, reading, gardening, or playing an instrument are all examples of self-care. Engaging in hobbies gives you happiness and fulfillment, which reduces your need on other people for enjoyment, in addition to spending time with supportive loved ones, and encourages you and strengthens your sense of belonging and community. Self-care is about making a balanced way of living that promotes your health by looking after yourself. You establish a solid foundation that empowers you to detach and confidently confront life's obstacles, emotionally from others, not with coldness, but with inner power and self-confidence. Confidence. Making self-care a priority is essential to creating a happy practice, the 10th independent living rule. Gratitude. Have you ever observed how concentrating on your shortcomings might increase your attachment to what you have? Gratitude exercises can drastically change your viewpoint, assisting you in emotionally separating from someone by recognizing and by focusing on the good things in your life. You cultivate an attitude of plenty instead of gratitude for shortage enables you to appreciate what you currently have, which lessens the perceived need for what you believe you're lacking. For instance, jot down 3 things every day. These can be as basic as a sunny day and encouragement for which you are thankful. This technique diverts your attention from what's missing, like a companion or a satisfying dinner. Epictetus, the philosopher, observed that you should pay attention to what is present and fulfilling in your life. Remember that what you currently own was once one of the things you only had, so don't ruin it by desiring what you have. I hope this advice serves as a reminder to value the blessings we already have rather than focusing on our lack of thankfulness improves your mental health and creates a protective barrier against the suffering of detachment. As you develop the practice of with thankfulness, it will be simpler to let go of relationships that no longer benefit you, opening the door to a more tranquil and a happy existence.